Hey everybody, it is Pi Day today, and obviously everybody here in the US and probably most places are on restricted travel and quarantine. Everybody's home, and but I thought since everyone's home that we'd go on and talk about some music today because that's what we do here. I hope everybody's doing well. Today, like I've done on the past two Saturdays, I'm going to do a lecture today on modes, a whiteboard lecture, and I have a discount code for Pi Day. This is 60% off the bundle that I've been doing the last two weekends. The discount code is 314 for Pi, and we're doing 30% off the ear training course, which we've never done before. I want to talk a little bit about Pi here because talking about Pi and talking about memorization for these things. So a big part of our learning over the past 2 weeks has been talking about memorization. And I had my son Dylan. We had this little project for Pi Day probably about 4 years ago. So, and Dylan memorized 500 numbers, 500 digits of pi. And the way that you do these things, that you memorize long streams of things, is by one of the ways to do it is by chunking. Okay, chunking is one memorization technique. If you go like 3.1415 926 5358 979 32384 626 433 83279 50. So here, this is how I'm doing it. I'm going 3.1415 926 5358 979 32384 626 433 83279. So I'm dividing them up in odd number groupings so they're easier to remember. All right, so you can start whipping through these. Now, memorizations for music theory, like the modes, like chord scales, diatonic chord progressions, secondary dominants, that is a different type of memorization, and you have to find different patterns. Chunking doesn't really work because these are actually smaller bits, but I'm going to teach you how to memorize these ones, and I'm teach you what modes are actually important to use, okay? Because not all the modes of the harmonic minor scale are necessarily important. Lydian sharp 9 is a cool mode, but do you really need to know Lydian sharp 9? Probably not. Harmonic minor, Phrygian major are two really important modes of the harmonic minor scale. Most of the melodic minor scales are, pretty much all the modes in the melodic minor are important. Modes of the harmonic major scale, unless you're into Alan Holdsworth or you're doing modern classical music, you don't need to know those. And the double harmonic major scale, you don't really need to know those. For those of you that are more advanced, you should learn those, and you should know all the harmonic minor modes. But we're going to talk about modes of the major scale, modes of the melodic minor scale, and modes of the harmonic minor scale, but what modes to focus on and memorize, and what are the strategies for memorizing them today. Once again, discount code, all this stuff is in my book. Discount code for today, 60% off the bundle. The bundle is a transcription of a bunch of my YouTube videos with tab and things like that, and then also my Instagram improvs. Those are transcribed. It's 160 pages. The whole bundle's over 600 pages together, bundled with the book. So let's talk about the modes of the major scale first. So I've written them out to begin with. So if you take the Ionian mode, which is the major scale, and we just number it, we don't worry about intervals. Okay, we're going to assume that you know the major scale. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half is the interval construction of it. But if we write the numbers 1 through 7, this would be for every other mode, what we do to a major scale to get these particular modes. For example, Dorian, we flat the third and we flat the seventh, okay? These are the things that you need to memorize. This is what you do to a major scale to get these particular modes. And then I'm going to talk about what are the important, where the half steps are in the modes. And I've talked about this a lot, but this is really how you memorize them. Now, okay, so the Ionian mode, where are the half steps? Because this, once again, shows you what the half step, whole step pattern is, but you're going to do it using numerals. So there's a half step between 3 and 4, and then between 7 and 8, 8 being the octave, okay? So that's where the two half steps are. Every one of these modes of the major scales has two half steps in them, okay? And those particular half steps show you where the important notes of the scale are. Those are the notes that create that sound of the scale, okay? In Dorian, so Dorian is a minor mode, okay? It works on the 2 chord, so each of these goes with a particular chord of the major scale. The 1 chord is Dorian, the 2 chord, the 1 chord is Ionian, the 2 chord goes with Dorian, the 3 chord goes with Phrygian, the 4 chord goes with Lydian, the 5 chord with Mixolydian, the 6 chord with Aeolian, and the 7 chord goes with Locrian. Okay, so you just have to remember these, go in a particular order. There's 7 modes and there's 7 notes of the scale. The Dorian mode that goes with the 2 chord, and you can play it over a minor chord, has a half step between 2 and 3 and between 6 and 7, 6 and flat 7. Okay. Phrygian has a half step between 1 and 2 and 5 and 6. Okay? Every single one of these modes is going to have a set of 2 half steps. They're going to fall in a different spot in the scale. Lydian has a half step between the sharp 4 and 5 and the 7 and 8. Okay? So that would be like a leading tone. If it were a C Lydian, you'd have C, D, E, F sharp 4, right? G, A, B, C. So between B and C would give you that half step. Mixolydian has the half step between 3 and 4 and between 6 and 7. Okay? So in the key of C, C, D, E, F, right? E and F, there's a half step there. G, A, B flat. Okay? The Aeolian mode has a half step between 2 and 3. This is built on a minor chord also, and between 5 and 6. Okay? You notice they fall in different places with each of these scales. So if I do C Aeolian, C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat. A flat 6 would be A flat. And then Locrian. Locrian has the half step between 1 and flat 2, and between, whoops, I missed the flat 5, between the 4 and the flat 5. Okay? So if it was C Locrian, C, D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat. Okay, so what you do to a major scale to get these particular modes. Okay? Now, there's 2 ways to think of modes. You can think of modes related to one key, and you can think of modes related to one tonic. If we were talking about modes related to one key, let's say C major. I'm going to keep going over this all the time because these things are very important. So the modes in C major follow along with the C major scale. So you got C Ionian, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, G Mixolydian, A Aeolian, sorry about that, Aeolian, and B Locrian. Lydian, Phrygian, Dorian, Ionian. Got it. Okay, so these are the 7 modes of C major. So they're using all the notes of C major, but you just start on each consecutive note of the scale. So every note will contain the notes of C major, so no sharps or flats. Okay, so these are the modes of C major. Now, if we had C as if we used parallel modes here, and we used a C tonic for each of these, then you'd have to really know what the formulas are. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate that. Oh, for those of you that haven't seen my Eric Johnson interview and Robin Ford interview, check them out. They really were super fun and they were great. Once again, discount code for today, 60% off the 600-page Beato book and YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle. Discount code 314 and 30% off the Beato ear training. You have to go to beatoeartraining.com for that. Same discount code though, 314. Okay, now for these you have to know what the formula of the scale is, okay? So the formula of C major, we already said C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So all of these are going to have the same letter names, but you're going to have to fill in the accidentals where they fall. Dorian has the flat 3 and the flat 7. Phrygian has the flat 2. D flat has flat 3, has 4, 5, flat 6, and flat 7. Okay, Lydian, 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7. Mixolydian, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7. Aeolian, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. And Locrian, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Okay, this is where knowing what the scale degrees are, the scale steps, why this is important. Okay, so I've used the formulas that I've memorized, and I've created these particular modes all based off of C. And this is actually a great way to practice things. What you want to do, you want to practice your modes on whatever instrument. If you're playing piano, you want to practice them C Ionian, D Dorian, E Phrygian off each consecutive note of the scale. And then you want to take and do them off the same tonic. C Ionian, C Dorian, C Phrygian, C Lydian, C Mixolydian, C Aeolian, C Locrian. Okay? This is very, very important because it gets in your ear what the sound of these modes are. Lydian has the sharp 4. That's one of the characteristics. It's a major chord with a sharp 4. Aeolian has the flat 6 and flat 3rd. So it's a minor chord sound with a flatted 6th. Okay? Dorian has a natural 6th in it. If you watch my mode videos that I've done, I've been remaking all my mode videos. I did Aeolian, I did Dorian, Mixolydian, Lydian. I think I've done 4. I have Ionian and have I done 4 or 5? Yeah, I have Phrygian, Ionian, and Locrian left to do. Thank you, Pabs London, appreciate that. Any chance of an interview with Branford Marcellus? Yes, there's a chance. There's a chance of an interview with anyone. Okay, these are the modes of the major scale. You have to memorize these. There's no question about it. You got to memorize the formulas so that you can write these out really quickly like this. Okay, let's talk about the melodic minor next. The melodic minor is the other scale that is commonly used in rock, jazz, blues, fusion, whatever. And that's one that you absolutely have to know. The harmonic minor scale is used a lot in metal, but most people use it off the tonic or off the 5th. We'll talk about that in a second. So the melodic minor scale. All these things are in my book. That's can be your reference guide for learning how to memorize this. Thank you, Virus Eternus. Appreciate that. I like the dancing, whatever that was. Melodic minor. Okay, so first mode of melodic minor is called melodic minor, or what I call mel-min, just so I don't have to write it out. Okay. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a major scale with a flat 3rd. This is how you remember the formula for melodic minor. It's not like anything in the major scale. Major scale with a flat 3rd gives you the melodic minor scale. It has a raised 7th. So you think 1, flat 3, 5, 7. That gives you a minor major 7 chord, or it's a minor major 7 sounding mode. Second mode is Dorian flat 2. You don't mind if I abbreviate. What you do then is you take a Dorian scale, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and you flat the second. So once you've memorized the melodic or the modes of the major scale, then you can do these formulas really easy. Okay. The next one is Lydian augmented. Okay, so what does that mean? If I just say Lydian augmented, well, you say, okay, Lydian mode, so probably has a sharp 4. And augmented can mean raised, but typically when people talk about augmented chords, they're talking about a raised 5th or a sharp 5, okay? So it's a Lydian scale with a sharp 5. 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, sharp 5, 6, 7. One of my favorite sounds. I love Lydian augmented. That would be, a chord would be like C major 7 sharp 5. So C, E, G sharp, B would be a Lydian augmented sound, okay? And it's a beautiful sound. It's used as a tonic chord. It can be used in jazz and blues. It's really cool because that sharp 5 tends to resolve up to the 6th. And if you play it, if you're soloing, you play it, and then you resolve that note, people, oh, that sounds cool. It just gives you a different flavor when you're playing. It was so interesting when I talked to Eric Johnson and Robin Ford this past week. They both talked about Paul Desmond as an influence, which I thought was so interesting. Paul Desmond was a saxophonist who wrote the tune Take 5. For those of you that don't know him, but I didn't, when Eric said it, I didn't want to necessarily refer back to Robin Ford's interview when he talked about it, but I was just thinking about that, and they both talked about Paul Desmond as being an influence. So he was an incredibly melodic alto player who played with Dave Brubeck. That's the Dave Brubeck quintet that played the tune Take 5, but he wrote it. Mixolydian sharp 11. You can call it Mixolydian sharp 11 or mixed sharp 4. I'll call it mixed sharp 4. Jazzers call it Mixolydian sharp 11. Mixed sharp 4, what is it? It's a Mixolydian scale with a sharp 4. So once again, if you know the Mixolydian scale, you write it out, and you just add the sharp 4 to it. Mixolydian flat 6 is next. What is that? Mixolydian scale with a flat 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. These are very easy. Locrian natural 2 is the next one. This is also a great sound to play on half diminished chords. Locrian natural 2. Okay. Typically, Locrian has a flat 2 in it, but we're going to make it a natural 2 with just nothing. So it would be, we'll talk about it. So C, D, E flat, F, G flat, there's your flat 5, A flat, flat 6, B flat, flat 7. Okay? This is used with half diminished chords. Half diminished chords would be minor 7 flat 5 chords, or what we call half diminished chords. Thank you, Bands and Bikes. Appreciate that. Then we have the last scale, has a few different names. Super Locrian is one of them. I call it Super Locrian or altered dominant, okay? It's the scale that has all flats in it, okay? That's the way to look at it. 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Now this one's a little bit confusing because when you say flat 4 is actually a major third. So it would typically be played on dominant chords that have a sharp 5, sharp 9, flat 9, flat 5. Okay, it has all the alterations. The flat 9 is the flat 2. The flat 3 is a sharp 9. The flat 4 is the third. Okay, I call it a hidden enharmonic. If I put that like that, you'll see that. So this is misleading. You think, oh, it's some type of a minor chord scale. No, it's really a dominant chord scale. Flat 5, flat 6, or sharp 5, flat 7. We call this the flat 13 too. These are very important to memorize. Pedro, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Ricky, thank you. Was Eric able to point out all the dying batteries in your house during his visit? You know what? I was thinking about that afterwards. I tell you what, the most fun part about it is that I should have filmed it. Eric, when he was getting a sound with my pedals, I mean, I had a lot of the same pedals that he has, and he's like 10 minutes. He's working on the delay, on the distortion, and then he starts playing. I'm thinking, man, that's Eric Johnson. That's the sound. It was so great, you know. It doesn't matter that he had his guitar. He played my Les Paul. He's like, how do you like this? He's like, this cool guitar, my Gold Top with P90s, and he starts playing it. It's like he sounds like you. It was cool. It was really, really great. I think I have some clips of that. I think maybe Billy was recording some of that stuff. I'll put that on my Instagram. Todd, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay, so these are the modes of the melodic minor. You got to know the modes of the melodic minor and major. We're going to talk about the harmonic minor scale, but we're not going to, I want to talk about things that you use, okay? Don't memorize a bunch of stuff that you're not going to use, okay? Harmonic minor. Okay, harmonic minor. So what is the harmonic minor? Whoops. It is a major scale. It's a major scale, 1, 2, with a flat third, 4, 5, flat 6, and major 7, okay? So, when you get into the harmonic minor scale, you have an augmented interval here between the flat 6 and the major 7. So let's say that we're in the key of C. C, D, E flat, whoops, God. E flat, F, G, A flat, B natural. So here's your augmented second interval. Some of you may say, well, that's a flat third by ear. Yeah, it sounds like a flat third. Thank you, Todd, so much. Appreciate that. But that augmented second is really important. That gives the character of that scale. So this particular mode is very important, the tonic mode. Yngwie Malmsteen, anybody that plays neoclassical metal knows the harmonic minor scale. It's used it's used in classical music. They typically will use that mode, and the other mode, I mean, I'll write down what the other modes are, okay? And when you have these particular modes, once again, it's following the formulas of the particular, when it's written out like Lohengrin natural 6, you take a Lohengrin scale and you make the 6 natural, okay? Ionian augmented, Dorian sharp 4, Phrygian major is the 5th mode. I'm sorry, I'm blocking. Lydian sharp 9, and alter dominant double flat 7. Sorry, I'm blocking it there. Okay, so these are the modes of the harmonic minor scale. What do you do to these? How do you write out these particular scales? Well, Lohengrin natural 6, once again, if I write out a Lohengrin scale, 1, 2, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, but natural 6, flat 7, right? Same thing, Ionian augmented. You write out an Ionian scale, you raise the 5th, augmented, right? 6, 7. Dorian sharp 4, you write out a Dorian scale, 2, flat 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, flat 7, right? You just follow what it tells you to do. Phrygian major, so it's a Phrygian scale with a major third. 1, flat 2, 3, 4, flat 5, 5, flat 6, flat 7. This is a great scale for dominant chords. Okay, that's a really, really handy scale. Lydian sharp 9. Well, the sharp 9 is the sharp 2, okay? 3, 4, sharp 4. Sorry about that. 5, 6, 7. Lydian sharp 9, I have a video called Lydian sharp 9. I'm going to redo the videos, even those modes, but if you check out my Lydian sharp 9, it has a very cool piece in it. Alter dominant double flat 7. Okay, so 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, double flat 7. Okay, you don't need to know these. These are the ones you need to really focus on. This one and this one. These can be cool. These two can be cool. This one is really cool. But if you're doing modern classical composition, something like that, and you want to spice it up, if you're a film composer, these are great modes because you come up with sounds that you don't hear commonly. And that's really what you want to be doing, right? You want to come up with sounds that people aren't used to hearing. For linear playing, for soloing, whatever, neoclassical, the harmonic minor scale, and learning to play the different arpeggios associated with it is really part of that sound. Once again, 60% off the Beato bundle. That's the Beato book along with the YouTube Instagram transcription book. So it's 600-page PDF, 600 plus page. 30% off the ear training course. The ear training course has hundreds of modules. It's a video course, but it has hundreds of modules that will track your progress. And we just added a new feature for those of you that are doing the ear training method. It keeps the scores of the top 10 people. You can opt in. You don't have to do this, but you can opt in, and it keeps track of the top 10 fastest people in the world doing it. Okay. Now, some of them, you only see like 3 do some of the hard ones, but most of the early ones, are people can get through. Okay, I'm going to read some comments here. Aaron, if you're on here, Aaron, and you have some comments that you want me to talk about, then but I'll just look here. Is there anything I want to Yngwie Minor? There we go. Exactly. Somebody's writing to me in Spanish, which I don't speak. Superlocrian goes over dominant chords. Ben writes that. Okay, so Superlocrian is the 7th mode of the melodic minor scale, but it has 3 names, and I learned of it from my high school guitar teacher. Taught it to me as the diminished whole tone scale, Superlocrian. It's also called the diminished whole tone scale. This was a thing from Rochester. People in Rochester called it that. And then also known as the altered dominant scale. So my guitar teacher in college called it the altered dominant scale. And I used to say, can we just stick with one name? Come on, everybody, one name. Okay, so the thing about this scale, we'll just stick with Superlocrian here. So you got 1, flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7. Okay, for dominant chords, I'm going to rewrite the scale. 1, sharp 9, 1, flat 9, sharp 9. 3rd, flat 5, or sharp 11, we can call it. No, it's a flat 5. Flat 5, flat 13, which is also the sharp 5, and the flat 7. So this would be on a, let's say, C7, sharp 9, sharp 5 chord, something like that. Or flat 9, sharp 5, whatever. Any type of altered dominant chord you use this on, okay? It's not like the diminished scale. There's a different note with the dominant diminished scale. We'll talk about that another time, but that particular mode is used for dominant chords. Here, I'll sit like that. Let's see what else. Oh my gosh. What about symmetrical diminished and whole tone scales? That's for another day. We're going to talk about that. I might do that next week. Those are called auxiliary scales, all the scales. The whole tone scale, the augmented scale, the dominant diminished, the tonic diminished, all those scales are part of a group that I like to talk about together, the symmetrical scales, okay? Let's see here. You mentioned something about the flat 6, 7 and the harmonic minor. I haven't heard that before. Can you elaborate on that? Okay, yeah, the augmented second interval between the flat 6 and the major 7. That's a real characteristic note of that scale. So Aaron has a question here. Oh, there's two questions. If you have a progression, is there a way to choose various modes for the same set of chords? Or is an arbitrary decision based on color? It's a great question. If I have a progression, very good question, Aaron. I think somebody, I don't know if Aaron asked that question. If I have this chord progression, D minor 7, G7, C major 7, this is a 2-5-1 in the key of C, 2-5-1. Now, I could play D Dorian, G Mixolydian to C Ionian, but you can actually do different modes on this that work with the different chords. I could play D Aeolian, I could play D Phrygian. This is called modal interchange. I could play G alter dominant. Oh, brother. G superlocrian, alter dominant, same thing. I could play G dominant diminished. They all have a different flavor. That's a half whole diminished scale. I could play G mixed sharp 11, mixed sharp 4, G mixed flat 6. C Ionian, I could play C Lydian on this chord. I could play C Lydian augmented. So these are all for different colors, and you can mix and match. I can go D Dorian to G dominant diminished to C Lydian augmented. I could go D Aeolian to G mixed Lydian. That's actually not a good choice there to C Lydian. That would be more D Aeolian to G alter dominant to C Lydian would probably be better. But you can mix and match any of these sounds. Another question here was, if you have a progression, is there a way to choose various modes in the same set of chords? Oh, it's the same, Aaron, the same thing. Sorry, it was a repeat of that. I'm blowing your brain up. That was really fast there. I know, sorry about that. I think this is a good spot to quit today. So remember, the discount bundle, 60% off the 600-page PDF with my Beato book and the 160-something page 160 page PDF, YouTube, Instagram transcription bundle. And the ear training course, 30% off. We've never done a 30% off sale on that. The same discount code, 314, but you have to go to beatoeartraining.com. You guys are amazing. Somebody just said, can I talk about quartals played over these chords? Yes, I will talk about that, but not today. I want to introduce basic concepts in these. These are review videos. This is my Saturday review session. You guys are incredible. Sorry I talked really fast, but that's why they have a fast forward rewind button on the on YouTube, right? You can actually listen to it fast. Death by Strangulation. Thank you. Death Metal Soloing Gold. This lesson is Death Metal Soloing Gold. Awesome. All right, you guys are the best. Keep going. Keep practicing.